Yunda Yalada, hello to you. I hope you're well. You know, sometimes when you've got something pressing on your heart and you feel the need to share it with someone, sometimes it just means that you've got to pull over on the side of the road and hit that record button on the camera. So that's what I've done. I am standing on Yirraganti country here, and I wanted to share on the theme of NAIDOC 2024, which is Keep the Fire Burning, Black, Loud and Proud. Now, I drove up to Mosman yesterday, my home community, and I was invited as a guest speaker to share on this year's theme. And as I was sharing, I felt as though there were some powerful words of wisdom, but I don't feel like I fully articulated them or expanded on them, perhaps in the way that they needed to be shared. So I felt like maybe this video could be the opportunity for me to elaborate a little more. And so I wanted to share on those thoughts, and hopefully that you will find some words of wisdom and value in this video. So as an Aboriginal person, as a Bumma person, Gulgi specifically, I know that in the context of my community in Mosman, Bumma will continue to show up year in, year out, because Bumma have been showing up forever. Our fire's been lit for millennia, and so our ancestors and our elders that have paved the way before us, they showed us how to show up, and we showed up alongside them because they ensured that we were there for the journey. And so they did that because we are the next generation. And so in the same way as I continue to show up year in, year out for NAIDOC and for other events like Reconciliation Week or Sorry Day or any other community event, we show up and we bring our children with us to keep that fire burning. And so the truth is, we will keep showing up because that's what keeps our fire lit, and our children are stronger when we make way for them. So yesterday I talked about how cold it was. We're in the middle of winter, and you know, having to travel from Cairns up to Mosman on a cold winter's morning, it's hard to get out of bed for myself. And my family was still asleep, my husband and my children, and the easy thing for me to have done would have been just to get in the car and drive up and go and speak in front of my community and then turn around and come home back to my family. And you know, that's the easy option. But when I think about the way that our elders showed us how to keep our fire burning, well, I know that I have a role and a responsibility to make sure my children come along for the journey. So I woke my husband up, and I woke all my 3 kids up, and you know, we put them warm clothes on and we travel up together. And as we warm up in our day, I know that that's the best decision, because my children know what's important and the priorities that are for us as Bumma people, and that is community, that is connection to country, that is kinship. And so we will collectively show up again and again. And so as I was sharing as well in my speech yesterday, I talked about how we as Bumma do that, and then I said thank you to the Waibal, the non-Indigenous people who are showing up alongside us and with us on an event like NAIDOC Day or NAIDOC Week in our community. And so, you know, for the word allyship, I just wanted to pose that question out there for our non-Indigenous listeners, our Waibal listeners, our potential allies. Do you consider yourself an ally? And if you do consider yourself an ally, well, do you think that that's a word that you've embraced yourself, or do you think that that's a word that has been given to you or identifying you from a Bumma person? Has a Bumma person said you're an ally to us? Because it's really important as non-Indigenous people that you don't just give yourself the label of ally, but to make sure that the people you hope to ally with or identify yourself with see you as that ally. So I know in Bumma way, when I invited someone that I trusted into my family circle to come and spend Christmas with us, or to spend a family birthday or celebration with us, I would introduce that trusted person as my Joan. And Joan means friend. And so if there's that level of trust enough to invite them as a Joan into my small circle, then that is the person that I would consider as an ally, because I know that their intention is good, is genuine, is has a heart that is positioned of friendship and compassionate and loyalty. And I would hope and I would trust that that Joan would also stand up for Bummer people and our rights, and advocate for us even when I'm not around, even when we are not around. True allies mean that they will stand up for us and be a voice of empowerment for First Nations people, even when us First Nations peoples, Aboriginal peoples, Torres Strait Islander peoples are not in the room. And so if you consider yourself an ally, are you an ally because you've identified yourself as one, or because Bummer have identified you as one? And if not, maybe you're a potential ally for now. And so what does the next 1 year, the next 12 months look like between this year's 2024 NAIDOC and next year's 2025 NAIDOC look like? If perhaps you haven't been given that name ally from a Bummer person, then how do you receive that name as an ally with trust and as a Joan to Bummer? By sitting, by listening, by learning, by responding, and really standing up for Bummer, even when we're not around. So I would like to challenge you. What does that next year look like? And for Bummer, how can we be more intentional about supporting those potential allies? How can we give them recognition, honor, and praise when they are being really good allies, when they're being effective allies, when we're doing the things that we think are the characteristics of an ally? How do we say Yalla Gurabi? Yalla Gurabi is a saying that we give to children when they're growing up and they do the right thing. Maybe we've shown them how to do something and then they've done that demonstration themselves without our help. They go and do it independently. And when they get it, we say, Yalla Gurabi. Well, how do we, as Bummer people, support those non-Indigenous, those Waybal people, and say, Yalla Gurabi in all of those moments that make them a really good and true ally? So, I guess in summary, the theme for this year is keep the fire burning. Well, one, we show up together and we keep showing up because we want to make sure that yesterday, today, and tomorrow are all worth it. We want to make sure that our ancestors and our elders live on through us and in the future generations of our children. Two, I want to challenge you as a potential ally to really think about what it means to be a genuine and true ally when that name is given to you by a Bummer person or the person that you identify yourself as an ally with and for. And thirdly, as a Bummer person, Torres Strait Islander person, how do you give those allies that we so need and so desire to come along for the journey? How do we give them praise, honor, recognition, and say thank you? How do we give those moments of Yalla Gurabi? I feel like this is a redeeming summary of the speech that got started, and that was a warm-up yesterday when I delivered to my community. So thank you for listening, and until next time, Yallada.